Is the Google Data Analytics certification worth it in 2025? The quick answer is no. This certification does nothing more than make you feel like you're making progress towards landing a data job, when in reality, it's just costing you more time and money. I took the certification myself back in early 2023, and let me just tell you, it did not help me land a job. For the next 2 years, up until early this year, I struggled to land a job, and it wasn't the certification that was the turning point. It was a combination of other factors which I want to break down in this video. But first, I want to explain why this certification is useless, because I know it is a topic that many aspiring analysts are trying to figure out as to whether the certification is worth it or not. And I want to give you my rationale so that you can save all that time, effort, and money and land that data job fast. The first big issue with this certification is that it is just too surface level when it comes to explaining the different tools. While it does cover Excel, SQL, and Python, and I guess its use cases, it does not go remotely in depth enough for any employer to take you seriously. With this knowledge that you gain from the certification, you will make absolutely no impact in your role. Excel, SQL, Python, and Tableau are such complex tools. While they can be learned, take at least several months for each tool to cover it from basic to mastery. It's impossible to learn all three at the same time within just a couple of weeks or a month. Second huge issue with this certification is accessibility. There are 3 million people who have enrolled and taken this Google certification. So what makes you think that you having it on your resume will help you stand out in any way? When too many people have exact same access to the same thing, it completely loses its value. And to recruiters, it just becomes a bunch of noise on a resume. But probably the biggest issue with this certification, which is why I'm making this video, is that it doesn't teach business context. And understanding business context is what will separate you from the hundreds, if not other thousands of analysts who are applying for the same jobs as you. Let me break this down. So every industry and companies within that industry all have very specific pain points. And what this certification does not teach you is the fact that each of these companies and industries have their own pain points, but doesn't allow you to identify them either. For example, e-commerce, tech, finance, and healthcare all have their own unique and specialized problems that by having just general and basic knowledge that you gain from the certification, you wouldn't be able to understand these specific use cases. Just to give you a little bit of insight, for e-commerce has very specialized problems such as high abandoned cart rates or high churn rate or high customer acquisition costs. For tech, it might be something like infrastructure scaling, how do we monetize, or user retention rates. These are all very different and unique problems that no certification is going to actually explain, because that would take years of your time. And Google very much understands that no one is going to actually put in that work and that effort. What I recommend that you do before you take this certification or you do anything else, you need to narrow down and specialize in one specific industry that you want to apply for. Now, I know it might be tempting that you don't want to spread yourself too thin and limit your job opportunities, so you apply to any job that exists so that you can increase your chances of interviews. I made that same mistake myself, and that is why it took me 2 full years to land a data job. What I recommend that you do is you pick one of those industries, such as e-commerce, tech, finance, healthcare, or whatever interests you or whatever you have experience in. Download a specific data set that highlights these problems and then solve objectives for those industries. And then from there, you can add them to a very highly specialized portfolio. I promise, if you focus on this aspect of a project portfolio, you will land that job in less than half the time that it did for me. And I know this is a bunch of information thrown at you and you might be feeling overwhelmed. So if you want help learning how to put together a specialized project portfolio, I explain exactly how to do this in my data analyst roadmap linked in the description of this video. Just click on that first link below. I cover from A to Z exactly how to pick not only your industry, but then how to find these projects, how to complete them so that they stand out in a project portfolio. Again, if you are interested, the link is located below. Again, just to quickly recap about this certification, besides the fact that it's super surface level when it comes to the tools, it's too accessible to everyone, again, it just doesn't teach business context. And understanding business context is what will separate you from those thousands of other candidates applying for the exact same jobs as you. This is the unspoken skill of a data analyst because, again, at the end of the day, your job as a data analyst isn't to be good at Excel, SQL, or Python. It's to understand the problems so that you can then use those tools to solve the problems. I don't think you understand that employers don't actually care that you know how to use Excel and Python. They want you to be able to use those tools to solve the problem that drives the business forward. That is what they care about. By focusing on these specialized projects, you will do exactly that. As always, I hope you got a ton of value from this video, and I wish you all the utmost success because there's plenty for all of us.